Imagine orchestrating the perfect family vacation, packing the perfect winter gear, and capturing an image so wholesomely flawless that it looks like a high-end catalog, only for the entire internet to look right past your kids and start calculating the exact date of your worst public scandal. That is the razor-thin tightrope Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel are walking right now. For high-profile celebrities, social media is almost never just a digital scrapbook. It is a carefully curated gallery where the timing of a post carries just as much weight as the imagery itself. On Father's Day, Biel took to Instagram to share a rare, intimate look at their private family life, uploading photos of Timberlake with their two sons, Silas and Phineas. The marquee image featured the family bundled up in matching ski gear against a snowy backdrop, paired with a deeply emotional caption praising Timberlake as a father who is consistently all in, someone who doesn't shy away from the hard conversations, the tears, or the quiet moments. On its surface, it was a textbook display of domestic bliss, a heartwarming tribute to a father from his adoring wife. But in the hyper-analytical world of pop culture commentary, surface level is a luxury celebrities are rarely afforded. The internet did not just read the caption, they checked the calendar. The rollout of this ultra-wholesome, unified family front happened to land on the exact same week as a much darker milestone. The 2-year anniversary of Timberlake's infamous June 18th driving while intoxicated arrest in Sag Harbor, New York. Because of that timing, an innocent holiday post instantly transformed into a massive public relations debate. The internet did not see a casual ski trip, they saw a highly calculated shield. The conversation shifted overnight from celebrating fatherhood to dissecting the mechanics of celebrity image rehabilitation. It is a textbook example of how the public reacts when they feel a piece of content is trying to manipulate their memory. Over the last 72 hours, the comment sections and viral discussion threads have split into two fiercely dug-in camps. On one side, you have the loyal fan base and casual observers who believe a family should be allowed to celebrate a holiday without being haunted by past mistakes. To them, Timberlake is a human being who made a serious error, took his plea deal, served his court-ordered public service, and is simply trying to be a good dad to an 11-year-old and a 5-year-old. They view the intense scrutiny as exhausting internet cynicism, arguing that a mother praising her husband on Father's Day is the most normal thing in the world, regardless of what happened 2 Junes ago. But on the other side of the digital aisle, the skepticism is loud, sharp, and deeply analytical. Critics are pointing out that this family-first display feels incredibly tactical, especially given the rough public relations stretch Timberlake has endured over the last few months. To understand why this specific post triggered such a massive wave of debate, you have to look at the immediate context leading up to this week. The ghost of that 2024 arrest did not just fade away after the initial court date. In fact, it was dragged right back into the center of the cultural conversation just a few months ago in March 2026, when hours of police bodycam footage from that night were officially leaked to the media under the Freedom of Information Act. Timberlake's legal team had fought aggressively behind the scenes to block the release of that footage, filing emergency stays and arguing that the video depicted him in an acutely vulnerable state that would unfairly compromise his privacy. They lost that battle. The public saw everything: the roadside sobriety tests, the slurred speech, the confusion in the back of the police cruiser, and that now iconic, deeply embarrassing exchange where he lamented to a young officer that the arrest was going to ruin the world tour. Seeing a highly polished, legendary pop star stripped of his production budget and caught in a profoundly human, deeply unflattering legal mess changed the narrative. It wasn't just a headline anymore. It was an 8-hour video archive that people could clip, meme, and dissect on TikTok. The imagery of him stumbling through field sobriety tests became a permanent fixture of internet culture. And a pristine, high-fashion photo of that same man looking like a heroic, protective father in the mountains drops on the exact anniversary of that arrest. The internet's collective pattern recognition software goes off. Viral commentary clips have spent the last few days breaking down the stark contrast between the two Justins, the vulnerable, compromised figure in the Sag Harbor police station versus the idealized, mountain-climbing patriarch on Instagram. Social media users are calling it a textbook pivot. When a celebrity's reputation takes a hit based on reckless personal behavior, the standard crisis management playbook dictates an immediate shift toward domestic stability. You highlight the marriage, you emphasize the children, and you pivot the narrative from individual indulgence to family responsibility. By positioning Timberlake as the rock of the household, the narrative shifts from what he did on a solo night out in the Hamptons to what he provides for his family every single day. This situation escalated so quickly because the modern audience has grown incredibly media literate. People have watched enough celebrity apology tours, docuseries, and carefully timed exclusive interviews to recognize the machinery behind the curtain. We no longer just consume the media celebrities give us, we analyze the motive behind it. When Jessica Biel writes that Timberlake is not afraid of the hard conversations, a media-literate audience does not just think about parenting. They immediately assume she is referencing the massive fallout from the arrest, the viral memes, and the intense strain a public scandal puts on a high-profile marriage. It becomes a double-edged sword. The very line meant to humanize him and show his growth ends up reminding the audience exactly why those hard conversations had to happen in the first place. This dynamic highlights a fascinating shift in influencer and celebrity culture. For decades, the ultimate currency for a superstar was mystique. You only saw them on red carpets, in music videos, or on movie screens. But in the current landscape, the ultimate currency is authenticity, or at least the illusion of it. When a major star faces a reputational crisis, they can no longer rely on a stiff, text-based publicist statement to clear the air. The public demands a look behind the veil. They want to see the real person. The irony is that the moment a celebrity offers that glimpse, the audience immediately interrogates whether that vulnerability is genuine or weaponized. By using rare photos of their children, who are normally kept strictly out of the public eye to protect their privacy, the stakes are raised. It signals to the audience that the situation is serious enough to warrant breaking the usual rules of privacy. Critics argue that using family milestones to soften a public image exploits the children's innocence to shield the parent from accountability. Supporters argue it is a genuine expression of what matters most during a turbulent time. For Timberlake, the long-term impact on his reputation remains highly volatile. He is currently navigating a transitional phase of his career where the nostalgia for his peak era is constantly clashing with modern cultural reevaluations. It is not just the legal trouble. It is the broader cultural shift that has spent the last few years re-examining his past behavior, his high-profile relationships, and how he navigated the cutthroat industry of the early 2000s. When the bodycam footage dropped in March, it felt to many like the ultimate unraveling of a meticulously crafted image of effortless cool. You cannot easily bounce back to being the smooth, untouchable pop icon when millions of people have watched you ask a police officer to keep the cell light on because you are nervous. Because of that, the strategy has clearly shifted from projecting pop stardom to projecting grounded maturity. The wide-legged trousers, the coordinated neutral outfits, the quiet luxury aesthetic he and Biel have been photographed wearing around New York City this week. It all serves a singular visual purpose. It communicates to the public that he has transitioned out of the chaotic energy of a touring pop star and into the stable, dignified era of a family man. They are trying to build a narrative of survival and resilience, showing that despite the intense public scrutiny, the viral memes, and the legal embarrassment, the core foundation of his life remains completely unshaken. But the real question moving forward is whether the public will ever fully buy into this new chapter, or if every single wholesome milestone will continue to be viewed through the lens of crisis management. When an artist's personal mistakes become deeply embedded in internet meme culture, the shelf life of the scandal extends indefinitely. A written apology can be archived, but a video of a field sobriety test lives forever on server farms, ready to be algorithmically resurrected every time the name Justin Timberlake trends. By attempting to counter that digital reality with a flood of pristine family imagery, the couple is engaging in a modern war of attrition against the internet's memory. Every public post becomes a tactical move in a larger game of reputational chess, leaving the audience to constantly wonder where the genuine family moment ends and the public relations campaign begins.